I'm never quite sure.
I can see all. I'm glad I cleaned up a little bit in my background. I mean, a little bit. There's a lot of stuff back there. So, yeah. It's on. All right. I would say let's go ahead and start recording. I know we do not have a quorum from my count. Let's see, participants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 board members or council members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that correct? Can someone?
1, 2.
That's the count that I had 5.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 council commissioners, so we would at least need 6. So we do not have a quorum at present. But let's go ahead and record, and we will have the meeting and just not approve or vote on anything. Does that sound okay? Mm-hmm. So, do you want to hit record?
Yes, I already started, so you're good.
Sounds good. All right, so we will open this meeting at 5:03. Call the meeting to order at 5:03. Roll call. Commissioner Azra, Commissioner Karen, Commissioner Caroline, Commissioner Dwayne is here, Commissioner Jacinda.
I am here.
All right. Commissioner Elkin, Commissioner Linda.
Here.
Commissioner Michael.
Here.
Commissioner Shar. And Commissioner Dr. Monica.
I'm here.
All right. So, we do not have a quorum, so we will skip the approval of the meeting minutes and get into old business. Kenneth, you are up. Acting Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Kenneth Murdoch, you are up to this whole business discussion of the Civil County Equity Plan, hospital collaborations, and then the conversation around.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. So at one time, I had worked on the equity plan with this committee, and we had some public meetings in the county council chamber, and those meetings are still up on YouTube. That was worked towards a written equity plan. However, there's no necessarily set date for that, and now those meetings are kind of old, and I think we would have to restart it. So what I would propose to this committee now is, if the committee is still invested in helping me write an equity plan or building an equity plan now, then we start to schedule setting new public stakeholder meetings, and we kind of set a new timetable, which would start up probably next year to start moving us kind of forward and kind of get a new temperature of the community. Kind of, if you look at our old equity plan meetings, it was like, what would it be like to build equity in healthcare? And I kind of have to be honest with you on some level. The political climate around the word equity might be somewhat challenging going forward. That is not to hinder your desire to do it, because I still will remain in my title as Director of Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and push forward. But I can understand if you want to look at a different way of writing it or something like that. If you do want to work forward, then we probably have to come to some type of agreement of how and when we have meetings. And would you want to try and have them in county council chambers and things like that? But those details we can work out together. The question is, would you want to work forward? Now, I know you don't have a quorum right now tonight, so you can't officially vote, but just let me know the temperature of the room, right?
Carolyn is on, just so you know.
that change the quorum?
Okay, so I'm sorry, do you go by Kenny or Ken?
Kenny's fine.
Ken, okay, I'm 110% in favor of this.
Okay. Good.
What happened to the sound?
We can hear you, Susan.
Dwayne, we can't hear you.
Okay. All right. Now can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. I agree with Michael. I'm in favor of it. I believe that equity is very important. Understanding that there's so many inequities in our region, and so understanding how do we educate people about what does it mean for equity, and then how do we actually do that. I think is important. I guess my question would be from a St. Louis County standpoint, understanding they're also going through a St. Louis County plan and an agenda as far as what are some of the pressing items. Is equity and injustice is something that they are also working towards, or this will be a conversation that we would need to have with the county executive and then also with the council as well, just to ensure that it's not us working in the silo or us collectively working in the silo.
If you're asking on some level, does the county executive support equity? He has always stated that he has had an equitable administration and supports building equity in communities where have had historic inequities. So that's always been a staple of his administration, something he's believed in. If you're wondering more the mechanics of how we would go step by step forward, that we can organize out. If you're wondering if St. Louis County as a whole is going to go through kind of a political temperature change, that I don't necessarily know, but right now I know everyone I talk to is still forward on let's make this a more equitable county, more welcoming county, even though, we haven't, the whole state doesn't always have the same welcoming signals that we want to give. And so everything I've heard from everyone up on the ninth floor especially is yes, we're still moving forward with making equity where we can build equity.
I just want to make sure that, because this is going to take resources and effort and also communication and conversation. So if everyone is on board, then it's going to be a little bit easier on your part and our part to ensure that we're getting communication out, we're getting input in, all of that. But if people don't see this as a priority item, I just think that it's going to be, and not saying that we don't do it. I just want to make sure from a commission standpoint, we understand, are we all pushing the boulder up the hill, or is it just the commission?
It would be us pushing most of us, the commission, and me, with myself, my office, pushing mostly up the hill. Now, as far as resources, let's all be real. County does have economic budget shortfalls, and budget's a big crisis. So economic resources, I can't commit to anything off right in this conversation. I'd have to check better temperatures before I can commit to anything like that. But as far as finding spaces to have meetings and things like that, I'm pretty sure I can speak for, we can do things like that and have public meetings and help find stakeholders in the community to come into these meetings. And if you're talking like, was equity thought of when the 2050 plan, which is built up by planning, was equity thought of in that? Absolutely. Jacob Trimble, the planning director, he'd be a great person for us to bring in, and he can really talk about how he got into looking at building processes and how to build out the county in the most equitable fashion. But yes, it was thought of in the 2050 plan and is continually thought of in the 2050 plan. But that could be something we could put in our equity report too, what each department, have department people come in and say, this is what we do with the equitable mindset to build it out in our specific area.
I've been talking to somebody, so other commissioners can basically ask questions and share as well. Be more equitable in voice as well. So, any other commissioners have thoughts, questions, or ideas as far as us moving forward with an equity plan?
I agree. Once we
put it together. We just need to stay on it.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yep, I'm for it. So whatever we need to do to move forward and get going.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Any other thoughts? So Kenny, I think that is a movement forward. I like your idea
agree.
as far as going with, bringing in departments and seeing how we support or how do we collaborate in this
Mhm.
regard as well. And so I'm not sure what else you need from that, but I think that this is a plan for us to move forward and we can talk more about it. What does it look like? for
Yes.
us to-
Let's schedule. I will call you, Director, sometime this next week, and we'll talk about what I need to send out to everyone and kind of build out where we go next steps from here. But thank you all for this, and we will move forward with the building an equity plan together. Thank you.
And I am completely in favor with what Dr. Stewart basically shared as well, coming out with and I think you said it as well, just reiterating that as far as a schedule and a time frame, so we can be diligent in that regard as well.
Right.
So,
Right. Thank you all.
Mhm.
next up, I think that kind of goes in with, there are other conversations as county collaborations, anything that we should know as far as from 88. My dog just walked in the background. Go ahead, man. Anything we should know from 88, the work from an ADA standpoint, or LGBTQ+A task force, or the youth commission as well.
I didn't hear part of that, but so there is a task force that's going to meet the lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual questioning and task force will meet next November 20th, and I think they're not going to meet in December. If you want to know kind of what the task force is doing, I would tell the task force, I would talk to the task force, and they probably can produce kind of like a one sheet that they could send out. But I just had to get consent from the task force to send that out or to send something. But I'm sure they would say this is kind of what we're up to, something like that. Is probably but that's fine. The youth
And on that
advisory.
note, what you said, November 20th. What time?
Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. is when the task force meets. November 20th, at 10 a.m.
And that's an open meeting, right?
I
guess
not
it's a
believe
task
that's
force,
an
but I'm
open.
not
That's a
sure.
task force meeting. It's not an open meeting. It's not an open meeting. No, it's not a public meeting. It's a task force meeting. That's why I need to get permission from them to give out any material today. Yeah.
I would say from my standpoint, the suggestion is not for them to report to us, but just seeing exactly what does it look like for us to collaborate on efforts. And so if that's an easier ask from show report or one pager, or if they want to suggest that someone attend our meeting or one of us attend their meeting just to have a conversation, just to make it a little bit more collaborative and palatable and community in nature as well. So that would be
I think they would be very open to a meet and greet type thing, and then see where collaborations can go from there.
Anybody else have anything as far as the task force conversation before we move into the youth advisory board conversation? Okay. All right. Sorry, Kitty. I just didn't want to.
All right. So the Youth Advisory Council has a new board. I have not met with them just as of yet. There was going to be a section of the equity plan they were going to write, but once I decided kind of we need to restart and redo the equity plan, I wanted to meet with this group first and make sure that the will was there. Now that I know that, I can go meet to the Youth Council and say, do they want a section on what it's like to be young, growing up in St. Louis County and building equity for youth? If that's an agreement that should be a section with everybody there. And I know you don't have the vote quorum yet, but think about that, and that'll be something I'll propose, and when me and you, Director, sit down, and I'll write some more out on that then.
Any thoughts from a youth advisory point from the rest of the commissioners?
I agree with the Youth Advisory Commission. I do.
Yeah. I think that there needs to be an individual section on the equity plan that basically addresses youth. I think we a lot of times I've seen us, have a senior section, and what does that look like? But we don't always have that. But I also think that it needs to be intertwined in every other section, so it's not just I'm only going to talk to youth when I get to section blah 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 blah.
Right.
Okay.
And the past couple of boards, they are some very energetic young people, and they have some good thoughts. So that would be a plus.
Yeah, they've traditionally been a very active and good board.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just say the same thing, and from my standpoint, is seeing how we can collaborate on work that they're doing. I mean, I'm sure that they have wants and wills, and if there's others that can support their wants and wills, let's see how we can do that as well. So, if one of us is attending their meeting, or one of them are attending our meeting, or what does that look like for us to ensure that it's not just silence? This is my. Again, I'm talking a lot. Y'all can talk more.
No, I agree. The only way we're going to work with people, we need to collaborate and attend each other meetings. A designated person or collaborate on something. So I agree wholeheartedly. This is a long time coming.
I most definitely agree on collaboration because that's key. We're gonna need that more than ever now.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't start listening to the youth voices, we're gonna lose them.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kenny said, that we have some smart youth that's on that committee and commission, and they really care about St. Louis County and what's going on. So if we don't get them in now, we're gonna lose them.
Right. And generally listen.
Yeah.
You on mute.
I'm glad that you said that, because I think once we invite other people to attend the meeting, especially with youth, that we have to check, not to hold ourselves accountable as well, just to make sure that we're providing the true voice and encouragement and conversation. And
Right.
so whatever that looks like for us to ensure that if I say something out of turn, you are like, Dwayne, that's not right, something like that, just to make sure that
Right.
we're bringing them into a welcoming environment.
Exactly. Accountability.
Thank you. Kenny, any other task force collaborations, discussions that we should know about from our standpoint of just supporting and helping and encouraging and educating ourselves that might have crossed your desk?
I would recommend that this organization talks to the police department's diversity and inclusion director, and just to get to know the temperature of what kind of equity is built in our police department. They're doing some work that they could explain better, but it's just good to know what they're doing, and they're a section that wants more support and to know more of the good work they're doing.
With that, do you think that should be like a one-on-one meeting, like we asked one of the commissioners to meet with that person, or inviting them to this meeting? Any thoughts on that?
I'm not sure on that approach, but maybe do a phone call first. You call them and just say hi, and let them know who you are.
If the commission is fine with that, I'll reach out and just make the introduction just to see exactly what.
And if it works, you should not be alone. You should have a team.
So if anyone else wants to help me with that, I am more than willing to do that together. So, or if someone else wants to do that on behalf of the commission, I am more than happy with that. Think about it. Let me know. Let Izzy know to know me. However that wants to go. Let's make sure that we have that conversation.
Yeah.
So is this for like the police response for the college campus protests, or just police in general?
Police department in general. Diversity and inclusion is a subsection of the police department for St. Louis County Police.
Okay.
They're not specific incidents. They're just.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's just maybe a phone call, because I know in Maplewood, our chief has really stepped up and working on DEI and so
Yeah, I know you Maplewood
not
chief.
sure what others are doing, but he can probably have, if we want to move forward, he probably can give a good example of what he's doing here in Maplewood, how he's changing and building relationship with us in Maplewood Black and brown, LGBTQ, you know, even our youth at the high school. So yeah. But it's most definitely gonna have to start with a phone call introduction because you just want to go bombard them and you know they got a lot on their plate, so we got to give them. There's boundaries, but out of respect, a phone call and then a meeting from there.
I agree. I agree, Linda.
I love it. I love it. Kenny, the next thing on is, you mentioned it earlier with the budget, but just understanding that a lot of this work, see that there's a possibility for some additional support for HRC. And so just at one of the previous conversations was to see exactly what is the protocol for requesting an intern, see that there's an intern that might be wanting or willing to help with some of the work of HRC.
Well, the metaphor remains true. The county council is the legislative body, and that controls the purse strings. So that's where allocations are.
So we would have to make the recommendation to the county council if that's a current request.
Depends on what the it is. Depends on what the it is in that sentence.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I understand, like, you're one person, understanding that there's a lot of work that HRC can and will be doing as far as outreach and education, and just understanding, like, if there's staff, additional staff, intern in this regard that can support and help that work, just say that that's a possibility and an opportunity as well. That's all. I think that was the request. Just knowing that other commissions, like other states, have some additional staff that help them, and see it exactly if intern is a possibility. So, but maybe we can talk about that when we meet as well, just to see exactly. It doesn't hurt to ask. Sometimes there might be a college student that is wanting to help and figuring out what that looks like in terms as well. Pain is good, of course, but if pain is not an option, maybe there's another option. Anything else for Kenny in this regard from the diversity, equity, and inclusion? Is there anything that else is on your plate that we should know about and support you in this regard as well?
Well, I will say this. Everyone in the diversity, equity, inclusion space is kind of nervous right now because there's been some very strong political rhetoric about diversity, equity, inclusion, what it means and what it does. Not all of that rhetoric has been good. Some of it's been good, some has been bad, but some of it is very much attacking. So there are a lot of communities and individual groups in the area, not about the title of diversity, equity, inclusion, but the people who it covers and protects that are scared right now. So anything that this organization can do, anything y'all can do as individuals to reach out and be supportive of some of those individuals in our community that might be a little scared right now, to make them feel a little bit support or let them know that we'll get through everything. Everything will be okay in the end. I think that would be a good start because the temperature in St. Louis County and the temperature around the nation is a little bit nervous right now. And that's okay. But we'll all be okay.
Thank you for mentioning that, Kenny, because I totally agree. I'm just even thinking about like the International Institute and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and just, you know, my family's here in Maplewood. That's part of our school district. There's concerns. So as citizens, we need to be there and support them and hear them out and help them get through this because it's going to take all of us to get through this together. If you're all about DEI, you can't exclude anyone because we're all really under the radar. We're all under attack. So we have to find ways to support each other and support DEI.
I completely agree. Part of my job is diversity, equity, and inclusion. My title has changed just because of the climate. And so a lot of this work is educating individuals, communities about what diversity actually means, understanding that it's all the different identities associated with diversity. And so the more and more that we can continue to have that conversation, education, and that support around diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think it's just going to help us navigate the environment that sometimes that we're working in are living in as well. And so I agree.
To add to Linda's point, I think it's really great that, you know, we don't know what's going to happen in our country, quite frankly, after January 20th or 21st. And it's very concerning to me, and I imagine most of the other folks on this committee, if not all. But I think it's really great that we are being proactive about this, as well as other organizations that I'm involved with. Are talking about these issues. And I encourage you to also look at, there's a, I don't know if he was at a press conference, Governor Pritzker of Illinois has a statement that he put out, and you can look up on YouTube his statement's very strong. It's very, very directed at the incoming administration, one person in particular. And I'm glad that he, as a high profile Democrat politician, governor, is doing that. I think that sets a tone for the rest of us.
Thank you for sharing that. I will look that up for sure. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Next up on the agenda, and Commissioner Caroline, I know that this was one of the items that you wanted to mention and highlight is police response to college campus protests. Is there more information that you would like to share, or for the benefit of all, to bring this to the commission?
Yeah, I think,
I know it was a while ago, so I do apologize on that.
no, that's okay. I think, you know, I missed a meeting or two, so, what did I want to talk about? Oh, my understanding is that, folks didn't know if they would be charged or not. And like they had and you know, some of these are college students, not just at Wash U, and they, you know, it was even like the day that they were supposed to be charged, and they weren't sure. So I feel like there should be a clear way for folks to know. Yeah, that's it.
No, I appreciate that. And I think that, and thank you for sharing that with the commission. And I think based off of what Kenny was saying before, working with the police department, maybe that's something that we can talk with them about and share with them as well, of concerns that we've heard from the public and residents of what that looks like, to see exactly how do we communicate that a little bit better to everyone. And so maybe that's one of the items that we can have a conversation with them about as well. So I appreciate that. Any questions or additional comments on that agenda item? Okay. January meeting date and location. Currently, we have this meeting scheduled for Wednesday, January 8th. At 5 o'clock, and I just wanted to get a pulse just to see if there is a want, a will, a inclination to move back into in-person meetings, or is the webinar still the best option? The virtual option, is this time still the best option for everyone as well? I just want to make sure that we get that pulse.
Well, the wintertime webinars are great because we don't have to fight with the elements. And 5 o'clock works for me.
That's gonna say 5 o'clock works, but it's probably something, since most of the commissioners not on, to even maybe do an email, a poll, and see if 5 is okay. If that's the reason why some can't show up because it's at 5. or till 5:30 or 6 o'clock, but just kind of like say, get a pulse of it.
Right.
5 o'clock is fine for me because I have flexibility. So I'm cool with whatever, but I think let's see what the other commissioners think about since we don't have, everybody don't join all the time.
Mhm.
I like in-person meetings simply because watching people, there's much more to communication than looking at our heads on the screen. And if this is a human relations commission, we need to be able to relate. And this is not relating and not like it needs to be. Maybe that's a little corny, but I think, body language tells you a lot. Somebody can sit there and you can tell what they're thinking or what you think they might be thinking just by looking at them. And if they're in agreement or disagreement, you don't have to poll everybody. You don't have to see tiny pictures of people. You can see the person. And I just think it's interesting that a Human Relations Commission, I mean, yeah, the meetings are short. It's hard, by the time you get there, it's time to go home, and that's not a good thing. But I just think that talking together is a lot better than, watching each other on the screen and, well, you can wander off pretty easy sitting at your desk. But anyway, that's my thoughts. Time, it doesn't matter. I don't care, just whenever. Preferably not in the wee hours of the morning.
I agree with the wee hours in the morning. Other thought? Oh, Susan, I see your hand is up. Is that your hand up from the previous comment or? All right. Okay. Any other thoughts? It sounds like we want to do a poll just to making sure that we're inclusive of all the voices. So maybe on the poll, we can also talk about in-person, virtual, maybe virtual during these months just because of the winter, and then we plan to get back in person later on. Mike, I saw you came off of mute. Did you want to share something?
No.
All right. Caroline, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I agree with the winter virtual. I think also folks will have just come back from winter vacation, and that's peak flu season, January 8th. I think, when we're doing like kind of these hearings in the public, we should try to have those in person. That's it. And I agree with the poll. Yeah.
Izzy, is that something that you can help with as well?
Yes, I can. It's never,
We can talk about
but
yeah.
yes, we can figure it out.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next up on the agenda item is discussion with other commissions, and this is on me. Just sharing that I think I've shared this before, that there was information and education from the Missouri Human Rights Commission as far as coming in and ensuring that we're talking about human rights and what does that look like, and bringing together commissions from other states. And from that, I've been meeting with the chair of the commission out of Los Angeles just to talk about what they're doing and what we're doing, and just having a conversation among ourselves. And so from the conversation, she's very interested in the work that we're doing as far as collaborating with St. Louis County and the support of that within the different departments. One of the things that they're doing right now is a huge education campaign around hate and what does that look like, and working with their communications team just to educate people more around human relations and human rights and what does hate actually mean, which I think for us would be something that we can look into as far as this next year, because I don't think everyone understands human rights and human relations and what does that actually mean from everything from a housing standpoint to an education standpoint to equity standpoint, et cetera, et cetera. So I would love for us to explore that a little bit more, just to see exactly how we can go out and educate our citizens and residents more, and bringing them more into the conversation of we're here to support them. And so I'll bring in more information. Maybe there's an opportunity for that chair to join us, just so you can ask questions as well and learn from the work that they're doing and what does that look like as well. So I'll set out their requests to see if they can join us and have that conversation also, so it's not everything is funneling through me. But with that, and I think I had a conversation with Susan about this, is there's other human relations commissions in our different municipalities. And we've talked about this as a commission as well, but how do we collaborate with their work as well? And not just having them come in and do a presentation and they leave out, but what does it look like for us to truly collaborate and truly work as a collective? Because the way my understanding is the government is worked out is, we are with the unincorporated areas and doing some of that work, but then also the municipalities have their own intertwined and processes and procedures and policies as well. And so what does it look like for us to collaborate in that regard? All that to say is my ask is that I know the city of Overland, I know the city of Kirkwood, the city of Ferguson, all have human rights or human relations commissions. I'm not sure about Maplewood. I didn't see that. They do?
We do have it in Maplewood, and also what we're starting in Maplewood is the previous mayor, she was starting something for our senior citizens to make sure they're okay. And recently, there's a group of us who's starting a small group, kind of talk about the housing situation in Maplewood as far as like our renters, try to hear their voice, because cost of living is going up, and especially with our low income and Black and brown residents. So yeah, there are different avenues that, we can probably talk offline about it. I can kind of tell you what's going on, but yeah, we most definitely have a few things going on in Maplewood.
Okay. Great. And I say all that to say is I would love for each of us to make contacts with a different municipality or a different organization, just to see what does it look like for us to collaborate. So it doesn't always have to be a human rights or human relations committee, but someone that's either local or regional that we can work with. And so I live in Ferguson. I would be happy to connect with that commission just to see what are they doing, what are some of their plans and some of their action steps. But also, if each of us, if it's Linda, you with Maplewood, if someone that wants to reach out to Kirkwood, if someone wants to reach out to Overland, or someone wants to reach out to a different municipality just to see, our different organization, just to see exactly what does it look like for them to know that we exist, for one, and two, just to see what they might be doing that we can work on collectively. So when we come back in January, we have this unified information. Does that make any sense? Because I kept talking. Okay.
I'll reach out to Overland.
Okay. Thank you. Any other thoughts?
I think that makes a lot of sense, Dwayne, because I don't think people in the county, especially other municipalities, understand what we're doing in the county. So just even as you were talking, how can we share that information? Is there like a one-sheeter? You try to direct people to the website, but it's not much. But what do we have as we start having these conversations that they know we're here and what we're doing? And that will build up on the collaboration and them opening up about what's going on. Even though I'm in Maplewood, I know, but say like Monica going to Overland, I'm not sure what connection she has there, or someone reach out to Kirkwood, which we know Kirkwood is, probably won't live there to get that information. It might be some resilience there. So with the history and everything of Kirkwood.
I knew a former commissioner on the Kirkwood Human Relations, but I'm not sure if they're still on there or not. So I have to do a website, but they might know. They might know something. Yeah.
And I know that I used to work with the Chamber of Commerce there,
Hmm.
and my husband knows some firefighters that I could possibly try to get some information. But I don't know anybody in Overland. I know people that live there, but that's where I'm going to start.
And Dr. Stewart, I know someone that works for the city of Overland, and
Okay.
so I can make that connection as
All
well.
righty. Thank
They
you.
might know. Yeah. So I can.
Okay.
But I would just say let's do some outreach as an
Right.
investigation, as an
Mhm.
understanding, and some of the commissions, from our look, that they've had past strategic plans. I
Mhm.
know we're working on our equity plan, and so just saying, like, when we're doing this outreach, it will be good for us to also know who to invite, how to invite us, to have connections locally to begin this work, so it's not a starting. I can say ground zero because Kenny has been doing a lot of great work. So, starting with a little bit of a higher leg up from where Kenny's already. Any additional thoughts on that?
Mm-mm.
There's nothing else on the agenda.
We could go back and approve the minutes since we have a quorum now.
No, again.
We could go back and approve the minutes since we have a quorum now.
All right. So can I get an approval of the meeting minutes from Wednesday, September 11th, 2024? Can I get a motion?
A motion to approve the agenda from the meeting of, what was the date again?
September 11th.
September 11th, 2024.
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing no on either of those, then the motion is approved for the meeting minutes of Wednesday, September 11th. Thank you, Noel, for reminding me of that. I appreciate it. All right. There's nothing else. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right. Second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. You all
Everybody
take care.
have
Be
a good one.
safe.
Be safe.
If there's anything I can do to lend an ear or some support, please let me know. But take care of you all.
Okay. Have a great holiday.
We do the
You
same.
too.
Bye-bye.
See you in January.
Thank you.